Carved on stairs, buried deep in the earth, long submerged beneath waterfalls, who triggering a thunderstorm, summoning gusts of wind, seething waves of sea, slapping on the reefs to make a voice tell us what to believe without any doubt, without any doubt. Never let us down. Tell us.
Wait. So I was able to unlock both Dragonspine and the Chasm with no element Traveler. How did I do it? I was a Traveler with no elements, getting their way to Dragonspine, to the Chasm, and even getting my way through the Stormterror barrier and into Stormterror's domain. All while Paimon is constantly sending you back to the initial map boundaries. As I have mentioned in the previous video, you can freely move around for a tiny bit before Paimon stops your movement. And you can do this by simply logging out and logging back in. You will have around 2 to 3 seconds to move around before the Paimon barrier kicks in. It is an extremely tedious process which requires thousands of logins, but it is technically possible, so most things can be done in this manner. This, however, does not explain how I was able to open the Dragonspine Statue of the Seven. To unlock the Statue of the Seven in Dragonspine, you need to break a specific ice pillar which requires an item called the Scarlet Quartz. However, logging out of the game while holding on to a Scarlet Quartz will remove the Scarlet Quartz effect. So this begs the question, how did I do it? To answer this question, I need to explain a specific concept. I call it the 6 stages of Paimon. The 6 stages of Paimon is a concept to describe your progress within the Archon quest if you are playing No Element Traveler. This is important as each stage imposes different gameplay mechanics which can prevent you from executing certain tricks in the game. So, what are these stages? Stage 1. Leaving Paimon immediately. The moment you gain control of the character, you leave Paimon behind. You are free to explore the map with no restrictions, however, you'll not be able to utilize any glitches, as logging out of the game will teleport you back to where you've started. Stage 2. Leaving Paimon after unlocking the teleport waypoint. This is where you unlock the nearby teleport waypoint and are prompted to go to the nearby cliffside. When you leave the area and log out, you will not be teleported back to the start. This is a recommended place for you to start your No Element Traveler journey since you have the most leeway in case you accidentally touch Paimon.
Oh no!
Stage 3. Leaving Paimon after cliffside. This is where you leave Paimon after reaching the small cliffside. You are free to explore the map with no restrictions. However, logging out of the game will teleport you back to the cliffside, similar to Stage 1. Stage 4. Leaving Paimon at the high ground. This is where Paimon stops at this specific high ground. Approaching her will trigger the cutscene to introduce Mondstadt. Leaving Paimon at this stage and logging out will not teleport you back to the spawn area. You get an extra 225 AR XP which will be important later on in the video. Stage 5. Leaving Paimon at Starfield Pond. This is where Paimon is situated at Starfield Pond. You can technically go around the game with no issues. However, you do have to live with this Ctrl F pop-out constantly being on your screen, and most likely anyone with obsessive compulsive disorder, including myself, will get extremely triggered. Stage 6. Leaving Paimon at the Statue of the Seven. This is the final stage. Paimon will be waiting at the Statue of Seven, and approaching the Statue of Seven now will trigger the cutscene to get the element. Leaving Paimon at this stage will allow you to travel the world freely. However, every time you log in from this point onwards, we'll lock the player's movements and pan the camera to the Statue of the Seven for about 2 seconds. It may not seem like much, but you will see how this will be important in just a bit. So what do these stages mean? These stages are important as different stages can impact your gameplay in different ways. For example, playing at stages 1 and 3 are not recommended as leaving the game forces you back to their respective spawn points. So stages 1 and 3 are out of the drawing board. Playing at stage 6 is although possible, it does prevent you from executing the logging glitch, so stage 6 is out of the drawing board as well. Although playing at stage 5 has no direct consequences, the Ctrl F pop-out does prevent you from playing the game optimally. Therefore, we can take stage 5 out of the equation as well. By the process of elimination, we are left with stages 2 and 4. Stage 2 being leaving Paimon after activating the teleport waypoint, and Stage 4 being leaving Paimon at the high ground. Now this is important to note as my No Element Traveler account has been on Stage 6 ever since it was created. Hence why there were certain tricks I was unable to use, and I had to use an AR1 account to unlock the Statue of the 7 in Dragonspine. So now we've got an understanding of the 6 stages of Paimon, and how it impacts the way we play No Element Traveler. Now let's move on to what I was able to do with my newfound access in Teyvat. The first thing I did was to check out the Frostbearing Tree. The Frostbearing Tree is a place where you can offer an item named Crimson Agates, which can be found all around Dragonspine. You would then level up this tree to unlock various rewards helpful in your journey across the world. Unfortunately, this tree does not exist. Approaching the Frostbearing Tree leads to an empty space. It seems as if since the traveler never received an element, this tree never came into existence. It was a massive letdown since this meant collecting the Crimson Agates is pointless, but there's still other ways to explore Dragonspine. Going around the area of Dragonspine, most of the world quests were not accessible since most of the quests were gated behind obtaining an element. Of the 10 Dragonspine rogue quests available, I was able to access just one of these rogue quests. Low Temperature Warning. It was a simple quest where someone discusses the dangers of traveling in Dragonspine. It's no major quest, but it gave some basic rewards, which is better than nothing. So the Frostbearing Tree is unavailable and most of the rogue quests are inaccessible. What else is there to work with when it comes to exploring Dragonspine? The Dragonspine domain is located at the top of Dragonspine. However, reaching the top of Dragonspine is not meant to be possible since there will be in-game barriers which will prevent you from going there. Going there directly through a cave, I was blocked by a wind barrier. Trying to climb to the top of the mountain, I was killed due to the sheer cold going out rapidly and killing you near instantly. Even somehow bypassing the cold barrier does not work, as there seems to be a teleport barrier which will send you to the bottom of Dragonspine. So I've tried various ways to get to the top of the mountain, but nothing works. Therefore, I'll have to write this off as not possible. But if it's truly not possible, then how do I have this waypoint? It's on top of the mountain, so I have indeed bypassed the barriers. Now the question is, how? The disconnection and reconnection bug is the process of disconnecting your internet and reconnecting after a few seconds. Normally a pointless thing to do, in this case however, it allows you to bypass various barriers, including the wind barrier. And with some quick implementation, I was able to bypass my way to the top of the mountain. The top of Dragonspine is a sight to behold, at least for No Element Traveler. Never in my dreams would I think of being at the summit of Dragonspine with no elements. However, now lies the final issue. Unlocking the actual domain. The Dragonspine domain is located under the Skyfrost Nail, and the only way to lift this nail is to complete the relevant quest which requires you to unlock Dragonspine in the proper manner. Even somehow bypassing the Skyfrost Nail does not allow you to open the domain. It appears that you must unblock the Skyfrost Nail through its relevant quest in order to access this domain. A bittersweet victory. I was able to get to the top of the mountain, but unable to access the domain. Even though I was unable to unlock most of the content in Dragonspine, there were still a few things we have access to. For example, we could technically collect the Crimson Agates to hypothetically track down how many Crimson Agates we could get, even though we have no incentive to do so. But more importantly, we now have an area's worth of chests which we can collect. There are various puzzles despite being No Element Traveler I will have access to, and they may give way to precious and even luxurious chests which could potentially hold useful items to upgrade my Traveler. So it would definitely be interesting to see how I will survive Dragonspine as a normal human being, as an NPC with no elements. But even as I remain as a Traveler with no elements, there is still so much more we could do, things to achieve, places to explore, and more impossible things to achieve. Perhaps one day, Inazuma will be finally within reach.